You are the determinant of what success looks like, first of all. You could go to Broadway, love it, do many a show, and still not feel successful, because success is what you bring to it. Had this long conversation today with the kiddo in my house, right? It is not about where you go, and it is not about who says you have done well. It's how you live the walk, the day-to-day journey, and as long as you are feeding you, right? This could be for you, I don't know, success, right? Mm-hmm. I believe I'm a huge success.
Amen.
Because
Amen.
every day I know I work with what's important to me. I work with integrity. People know I can do the job, and I am called upon to do the job. And when I do the job, I'm going to do a damn good job. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say that. I'm going to do a damn good job.
You can say a damn good job. That's true.
That to me is success.
Welcome back to The Fade. I am your host, Brandon Morgan, and I'm sitting here with our illustrious guest, Miss Rachel Hemphill Dickson. Mm-hmm. Good to have you here, man.
Glad to be here.
Glad to have you.
Yeah.
Glad to have you. So, just for the people in the world who may know you or may not know you like I do, just, give the people an intro of who you are, what you are, and whatever Miss Rachel is.
I am a child. Okay. Well, I am that, but my name is Rachel Hemphill Dickson. You got all of that name. And I am an artist here in the Houston community. I serve in the capacity as actor, director, facilitator, educator, administrator, so I'm doing stuff, right? Writer when I have to. I have had a long journey to get here, but I consider myself a servant to the craft, right? In a bigger sense. So not just here in Houston, but look, I'll go where the work is, Brandon.
Amen. Hey, wherever they gonna write my name on the check, I think I could show up. I think I got a little time to show up.
As long as the work is good, we're good with that.
That's true too.
Yeah.
That's
Quality.
true. Can't just be out here just doing anything. Right. Turn yourself into a artist prostitute. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. But move forward. So, Just give me some background on like the journey of Rachel, like from where the little Rachel began to here with all of your multi hyphens today. So
well, I was born,
by the river.
Exactly. Well, we talked about this a little bit at one point in our conversation together about doing that first show in 5th grade or being a tooth or a tree or something, right? And remembering all of that. So I did do my first little thing in 5th grade, but I didn't know then that I wanted to be an artist. So the person that you have right now, I went to undergrad, studied engineering, loved it, did finish with the degree. I loved the math of it, but I hated the journey. And my mother died while I was in college. And so that was a big impetus, kind of like the inciting incident in a really good play for what is that thing that changes the trajectory. And that was it, because I knew I did not want to live with a list of I should have, I could have, I was gonna. And I knew I wanted to be an actor, but, generationally, I come from that generation where your parents are like, you better do something that's going to make some money. I guess generations still say that, right?
Yes, they do.
Still
yes, they
say
do.
That. Okay. But I decided, all right, I'm going to study theater and do the thing. So I went to University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, got my MFA in acting, moved to Chicago, worked in that community or that market for a couple of years, loved it, right? Because Houston is great and amazing and has so much theater, but there's like 8 times more theater and seats. Not seats, because Houston is like number 4 with the number of seats, or second largest, or whatever that is. You cut that part out. But
correction, we have the most seats per capita.
Okay. So now that's Houston. What it is. Yes, all right. We were second, and then now we're
neutral fact now.
Oh, wonderful. So
that's great.
Yeah, but moving from Chicago, where the market was just very different, to here, and I came to support my sister who has a kiddo that at the time was 4, and now she's 30, right? 30 something. But to be a family member, to support, because she was preschool. So, and then when I got here, I just like in Chicago, right? I was doing really great business, had multiple agents, was doing shows regularly and all of that, but it was too darn cold, so here I am. I said I was going to be here a year, and I remember standing a year to the day where I was working at the time and saying, "Oh, I think I'll stay a little longer." Right? And that happened to be ironically at the Ensemble, and that was in 1997. Where I actually work now. I had not been there all of that time as a staff person, but acting there and acting around the city and doing other jobs around the city in terms of the need, right? Facilitating, educating, dramaturging, directing. And I moved into a space of administration at the Ensemble in 2018. And have been there since in that capacity. I still consider myself an actor, director. I am eager in this year to come to get back to doing acting. Had to pause for a minute due to an agreement, but I'm back.
Yes, I'll wait for that. So I can honestly attest to, I remember the first show that I saw you in personally was Cinderella.
Oh.
And it was not a choice of mine. Like, I was a little younger at the time, and my mama took me to the theater, and I was like, man, like that stepmama was like epically mean. Like, oh, I will never forget. I'll never forget. And of course, Emmett Till, which is I probably like the best show I've ever seen at the Ensemble. Yes, I think we all know how great that show was between you, Joe, and all.
There's only 4 of us in that. It's great.
Man, it was a tough ride. But it was a good one. It was a good one. Y'all were phenomenal in that. And like, so knowing that, and I do want to ask, because you are like, on staff, and you are the artistic associate at the Ensemble, but like,
title change.
Yeah, but that bug for acting though, like like how does that work? Like to sit in a chair above the actor, and you still are like an actor. Like how do you balance that? Like how does that fit? I don't know if I'd be able to do it. I'd be like, I'm gonna just go down on stage and just do it. Like just take my title away, because I'm gonna just go do the thing right now.
Well, a couple of things about that is I don't think of it as above. I think of it as we're lateral. I am here to do this job, and you are here to do this job. It's the same with board of directors and leadership and things. We're all like this, in my opinion. We're all there to do different jobs to make it happen. Now, does my job require me to say yes or no to some things you're asking? Yes. But that doesn't make me more powerful or, any of that. And when directing, it is just a different artistic journey, right? As an actor, you have to make decisions about your character and objectives and all of those things you do. But as a director, you're looking at a bigger picture, but a lot of the same stuff, it's just how you come to it is different. So I think when I first started directing, I may have thought, I can hear it this way, say it like this, but I try really hard to respect all of the visions that are brought to the room, that I provide the foundation of the vision, but then it's up to every person in the room to have a journey that's artistic, that they get input, and to grow a seed into the thing that we're creating together. So balance. I haven't had to direct anything that I wanted to be in so much so that I was like, I can't do it. Right? Now, I have auditioned for things and didn't get it, and then it was hard to watch because I was like, oh, that should have been mine,
I feel that a lot.
But yeah. I mean, it does take a different brain space, and you're right, some maturity to be able to work on pieces that resonate with you in different ways, Yeah.
I think like all the time, like people have so many like multi hyphens, right? And like I only just consider myself an actor, and I'm like I need
and a host. It takes skill to do what you're doing,
I mean, talking is easy, like and like I've been saying before, like the beauty of this specific podcast is I have yet to talk to anyone that I just don't know. Like it's hard to not be comfortable in what I'm saying, because like I haven't talked to anyone like, oh, I don't know your name, I don't know like where you from. Like pretty much everybody I've known and I've talked to many times before. So it's just we got more lights now. But so moving forward, with all that you are invested in the arts, like what is the thing that keeps you grounded, like keeps you coming back for more? Like what keeps you stationed in art? You know, like what is that thing?
I think part of my life's journey, my God-given, you are on this earth, spiritual growth, ultimate ascension journey, is to bring people together to a common space. Now that space could be intellectual, physical, geographical, emotional, psychological. I mean, there's all the ways, right? And theater does that. So when I'm in an administrative capacity, it's a little harder to see, but then when I get to have input on what the shows are, who's working on the shows, or how the shows reach out to the community, that is bringing people together in a more abstract way, right? Than it is when you're an actor and there are people sitting in the seats and you get to inform their journey for the next 2 hours. That's an amazing thing to me. So I think, God said that's part of what I'm supposed to do, is bring people together. That in a big sense is what keeps me doing it. In a more micro space, I feel fully alive when I'm acting. I love administrating and directing as well. It's just a different, like I said, it's just a different headspace. But to be able to create a journey is the closest thing we're going to get to God, Brandon. Right?
Like to create a life in a person, right? Like, yes,
right. So when there's an idea that takes...
You heard that, Corey? You heard that, right?
Where you take an idea and then you gather some people and then you gather some actions. That is God, right? You say, let me take up this dirt and create a human and move all these human togethers, and then you guys move forward. That's amazing. So I revel in that. And it's similar to me as when I'm in the classroom, right? Having taught at the university level and still do teach at the university level. When you're in the classroom, you take this little idea and then you planted a seed and then the people join on to that idea. Even if they disagree, they're joining on in some way, and then you grow it from there, and hopefully they go out in the world and are like watering the land, It's amazing.
I can attest to that. I will give a slight nugget, Miss Rachel, you were my professor my freshman year in college at Prairie View A&M University. Sorry to all y'all TSU people out there.
Although I'm at TSU right now and hosting, so it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
It's okay. Life takes you places. But I can attest, like, just I think back all the time, and I love the capacity in which I am, like an adult and a professional. I get to see you, because I know, like, during those times I was definitely not a focused being or like theater at all. I tell people all the time, like, I didn't even know how to spell theater in college. Like, it just wasn't it just wasn't a thing.
Like, come to class.
Like, please, like, I forget the English classes. Like, I didn't want to go to the theater classes either. So, like, just to look back and like know where I am now, and need to see you. Every time I see you and you come to my show, I was like, I got to do something just to at least let this lady know, like, something dropped into like the spirit of what you were freely giving and us not freely taking. Right?
I'm glad whatever bit you, and that you still at it. That I got to put a teeny teaspoon in. That's enough.
I tell everybody, I was like, hey, Rachel's my teacher, y'all. Like,
and then I'm like, don't tell them, Brandon, till you get this together.
Because until then, they're gonna think I didn't teach you nothing. But with that, like, okay, so Fade to Black, right? We are doing this initiative in 2025. It's gonna take over the city. So before we get into like your involvement in Fade to Black, like, just give me like some ideas of your current feelings and future feelings of the 2025 festival.
Well, I'm excited that it is quite a visionary project of its leadership to want to cultivate something that is this scale. So I look forward to seeing that come to fruition, right? And the opportunity to have Houston resonate in the same moment with that much art. I mean, we always have that much art, but have it all be at the same window of time. So I think that'll be fun to see that happen, and have people come and share in this city to see how great it really is and how much art is here, right? We hear people say, you got to go to Broadway or you got to go here or there. I'm a believer that, well, Black Broadway is all across this United States, just like our migratory journey in history. And this is one of those seeds, one of those trees, one of those sprouts of our being everywhere. And we are here doing just as good a work as there and there and there.
I'm excited, man. I'm been in Houston for a very, very long time. Pretty much the whole time my eyes have been open. So... And I'm just excited. Like, I do think that there are, I try not to say better, when it comes to like art, because art is subjective, right? It's like it's neither good or bad. It's just what it appeals to you. But I like to think that there's a lot more like soul acting happening here in Houston, like as far as the actors that work here in this community. Like, they could stand up well in any other market, and I want this to be the place that they stand and people know that and see that, and create the work for people like me and look like me and don't look like me, just create those opportunities. Because, as they tell you in Houston, this is not, the place to flourish, right? And I don't, it makes me sad, right? It makes me very sad to know like this is a place that I live, I love, and I do work a lot. But to know like, oh, you only flourish as far as as the ceiling is Houston. Like you can't go higher than that here, and I don't. Makes me a little sad. So I'm more excited for the festival for that reason, to push that boundary a little further of what people think we can and cannot do, and how many opportunities actually land here and come here, and the people that come here to look for actors or produce shows, instead of just the norms, the norms.
Something that I am sure I had to have said when you were a freshman in college is you are the determinant of what success looks like. First of all, you could go to Broadway, love it, do many a show, and still not feel successful, because success is what you bring to it. I had this long conversation today with the kiddo in my house, right? It is not about where you go, and it is not about who says you have done well. It's how you live the walk, the day-to-day journey, and as long as you are feeding you, right? This could be for you, I don't know, success, right? Mm-hmm. I believe I'm a huge success.
Amen.
Because
Amen.
Every day I know I work with what's important to me. Mm-hmm. I work with integrity. People know I can do the job, and I am called upon to do the job. And when I do the job, I'm going to do a damn good job. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say that. I'm going to do a damn good job.
You can say a damn good job. That's true.
That to me is success. So, I mean, I set out, like you probably with freshman, my name was going to be before the title on the silver screen. That was my goal. When I graduated from college, I was like, this is where I'm going. And I quickly discovered a lot of that is defined by someone else to say yes. And I said, well, wait a minute. If I'm going to say yes. And therefore, what does yes look like to me? Yes means good work with integrity, doing the craft, creating my own if I have to, which is why I started my own theater company. Define it for yourself. So I think you're right. This vision is defining for ourselves here in Houston, showing what our success is. I think that's beautiful. And I do think it'll open eyes about what is here and who is here and what is available, the level of skill and talent. But I hesitate to agree with we have to be sad because the ceiling, because then you're buying that belief that this is the ceiling instead of saying
it's not personally my belief. It's just it is something that is it's like the advice that's given, right? Like, hey, like, when you start now, I ask a lot of questions to people, and they're like, hey, like, I don't, you might have to get out of Houston, you might have.
You're so good in that show.
Why are you
leaving?
Still here? Like, those kind of things.
And
I'm like you say, you got to define what it is. And my definition of my idea of theater, like all I said is I just want to work. Like that's it. I just want to work, and I want to work all the time or as much as I possibly can. Like, and that is the success of it, right? Like that is the success, and that's the only idea. Now, wherever that work is, like you said, I don't care where the work is at, y'all. Like just hire me to do the thing. Like I'll go wherever it's at. Like, but just as long as I'm working, then I can't keep my lights on.
Right. You gotta eat.
Whatnot. And these children get hungry.
They need shoes.
Child. There's no. Don't want to go too plural. So, can you go into like your previous involvement and your current involvement in Fade to Black, in what capacities those are?
Sure. I have written a couple of pieces that were in earlier festivals, and I've directed 2 or 3 times for earlier festivals. I have supported many a festival because either people in my family were either in it or wrote pieces for it as well. A long conversation this morning was one of the people in my house saying, I think I'm on audition for this. And it was the Fade to Black folk. I was like, oh, okay, great. So almost every year I've had some connection to Fade to Black. And currently, right, I am the Associate Artistic Director at the Ensemble Theater, and I pause because I'm sharing the role of Director of Operations and both Associate Artistic Director right now. The title will be what it is, but and part of our relationship to the festival is hosting and collaborating with Fade to Black on the reading series that will happen. So that'll mean, we will curate or facilitate the journey for new works, full-length works that are submitted to the Fade to Black Festival, and be a part of that selection process, or actually curate the whole selection process. And then we will mount the 2 works that are selected. So, that is the relationship. I am, in essence, the lead producer at the Ensemble to make that relationship happen.
Understood. That's great, man. I'm just saying, Fade to Black, for me, like, without the Black voice, like, we all don't have a job, right? Like, in my mind, like, without a Black writer writing something or anything, like, I just don't have a job. Like,
you have a job, but then you got to decide how you come to that job, and it becomes a different kind of complication.
Yeah, you're right.
You tell the story.
Exactly. And, like with someone who is not of the culture, writing that story for me, like I said, now you gotta figure out how to tell that story. But for sometimes it feels easier because the voice is already voiced, and
sure.
I'm so. I like Angela Rice. Like I tell her, I was like, baby, keep writing so I can have a job, please. Like, just keep writing. That's all you gotta do. Just keep writing, whether it's for me or not. We'll work it out.
The irony of what you're saying, or is that one of the first pieces I wrote was because I said, wait a minute, I don't see no roles for women 50, 60, 70. 80, and I'm like, I'm gonna plan to still do this thing. Let me write for women that age. And I submitted that to Fade to Black. I wrote it intentionally for Black and Brown voices and submitted it to Fade to Black, and was excited when it was accepted, because where are those voices? And then who's going to tell my story in 20 years, 30, 40, 50 years? Let's do that. I'm not that close to that.
Baby, okay. I'm going to go 10 years. You got to be like 38, right?
Right.
So what we like to do here on our Fade podcast is this little thing called Fade It Forward, right? So it's just an idea of like any type of advice that you would like to embark on the people, constructive criticism, it doesn't, I personally say it can be like a little, constructive. It's totally okay to be corrective in the world, we all need corrective advice, but whatever that is, you can give those gems right to your camera and just tell the people how you feel, what it is, just, fade whatever that is for. Just fade it on forward.
Okay, well, I have a couple of thoughts, Brandon. Can I do a couple of thoughts?
Yes.
Okay, so someone told me early in my career, if you are not doing the thing, then you're going to not do the thing. So do the thing. So I was like, I don't know if I want to move to here or there. And they were like, are you doing the thing where you live right now? Because you're going to move somewhere else and then do the same thing you're doing right now. So do the thing. Don't wait for somebody else to give you the thing. I started my own theater company, Driven Theater Company, which is still out there in the world. And I did that because At that time, I wanted to direct and I wanted to see a certain kind of work happen. And I was waiting. I had attempted to get others to let me do the work under their umbrella. It wasn't working out. I said, okay, I got a solution. I'm going to do the thing. So that's one piece of advice. Don't wait for anybody else. If you're an artist, it's about the creating. Make space for yourself to create. Another is work with integrity. And that's super important to how you move through space, not just as an artist, but it does make the art have a richer resonance with others, because that's what art is about, right? Is sharing this thing with others. And if you do it with integrity, and it's not just the kind of art you choose, it's all of the things around it, right? Because everything is interconnected. How you conduct this interview, how you talk with others, how you come to do things. Are you on time? Do you put your feet in? Work with integrity, because it informs the quality of the outcome, right? If you can do it with a good heart and feels good in your stomach, right? Like I see people, the last thought about this, I see people like, I'm going to leave this job that pays $30 an hour, or leave this show, even though I already said I'm going to do it, to do this show over here because it pays more. The remnants of your integrity that you leave behind, you gotta weigh out, is it worth it? I know we gotta eat, but that's still integrity. So those are the two things I would say can make a difference. Create your own spaces if you need, and work with integrity.
Amen. Thank you, Rachel, so much. This has been a little wonderful treat for me. You know, it's, like I say, I get to sit down and talk to people that I admire, talk to people that I know, and like, of course, like I tell, like you were my teacher. Like I get to sit here, talk to you now. I'm an adult now. Well, not only according to me, not my mother, but you know, like
that's just funny.
I just love how life, rotates.
It's full circle.
Like,
we were colleagues after the day one. The first day you're my student. The next day you're my colleague.
I know.
Kind of how God said it, right?
That's crazy. Life is crazy, man. Life is crazy. But thank you again for stopping in our little corner on the fade. I appreciate you. Once again, I will. I'm fading up. We fading up though.
Fading up.
Once again, this has been another episode of The Fade. I am your host, Brandon Morgan, with our wonderful, illustrious guest, Miss Rachel Hemphill Dickson, and we will catch you later. Corey, shut it down. Shut it down.